What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be continuing my journey through the Battles of Legends, Crystal's Revenge videos, and in this particular video, we'll be covering a similar deck that I showcased a couple of weeks back with the Vernusylph, Ishizu, and Telefon FTK, but here we are 2 weeks later with even more support through the dice cards. But before I begin, if you happen to enjoy content like this, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. So, Dice Dungeon reads, when this card is activated, you can add 1-dimension dice from your deck to your hand. At the start of the battle phase, you can make each player roll a 6-sided die and apply their result to all monsters they control until the end of this turn. They lose 1000 attack, they gain 1000 attack, they lose 500 attack, gain 500 attack, their current attack become halved, their current attack become doubled. So true to the dicey nature of dice cards, but the real effect that you want here is the ability to add dimension dice, as I'll show it off momentarily here as we're going to add it now. And Dimension Dice is the second new card that we'll be getting, which reads, if you control a card that has an effect that requires a die roll, aka Telefon, tribute one monster, special summon one monster from your hand or deck that has a monster effect that requires a die roll. So in this first combo, I'll be showcasing what you can do via link summoning, and I'm going to be going through all of the engines in order to fully showcase what the deck is capable of. And I'm going to start with the Flourishing Hills edition via the Seedlings and Haze, and we can special summon back to Telefon, which without normal summoning we're now able to use our Dimension Dice. From here we can now tribute it for another Telefon, and this is almost like 3 more copies of Machine Dupe, because Telefon doesn't need the 3 Telefons to go off. As long as you're able to get 2, you can almost do anything. So we're going to start now by activating the Telefon, and you're going to hear that a lot throughout this video as we gain 300 life points. Go into our Link Karibo, use the Telefon again, then special summon back Telefon from the graveyard. Make sure to always special summon them in attack mode. And now we're going to go into the Nightmare Cerberus, and the reason that we're doing this is because we're going to go through the G-Golem line, which is another new archetype coming out in this set. I'll leave a link below to the video if you want to learn more about those cards, but as you can see here, we're going to use the Telefon again, bring back the Telefon from the graveyard, and now we can link those off into the Stubborn. And now we can use the Telefon, bring back Telefon again, and now we're going to link away into Anima, use the Telefon, bring back the Telefon from the graveyard, and now we can link away into Appaloosa to protect our plays from here on, as we're going to use the Telefon again, special summon back the Telefon from the graveyard, then we can use the Flourishing Hills, pitching either Keldo or Mudora. You really just want the ability to shuffle back some of your extra deck monsters back into the extra deck. And we also get the ability to special summon back the Stubborn from the graveyard, which is a really cool thing this deck has the ability to do, which is use the Vernusylph cards to revive the Stubborn, and the Stubborn will get you back an extra body as it's an Earth type, or Earth attribute rather, and you can still use its effects. So now we're going to link away the Vernusylph and the Stubborn to go into the Invalid here, and from here we can link away into Link Karibo, use the Telefon for the 1,000,000th time, bring back Telefon from the graveyard, link away into Phoenix here, as we're now going to use the Keldo, putting all our Link 1s back into the extra deck, and now we're going to use the Telefon yet again to bring back the Telefon from the graveyard, link away into Trigate Wizard, use the Telefon, reviving the Telefon from the graveyard, and from here we can link away into the Dignified here, which will give us some added protection. But another cool thing here that you can do, because you have a Vernusylph, is that you can send your Keldo for more disruption, but you can also revive the Invalid that you used for material for the Dignified previously in the turn, as we're going to use the Medora now, putting back some of our link monsters to get back resources, and then we can use the Telefon here as we're going to link away one more time into Link Kuriboh, make our Nightmare Cerberus, and this will be our end board with the attack soft lock via the 2 G-Golem links. They also can't be destroyed by card effects because of Cerberus, and they even have protection from monster effects activated on your opponent's field via the Invalid. Of course, Appaloosa has 3 negates, and Trigate is an Omni-negate. So, on to the next combo here, and if you saw my previous Telefon combo video, you can skip to the deck profile if you would like, as this is really just similar to that, except we'll be using Dice Dungeon here, and what this allows you to do with this hand in specific is set up the Telefon FTK, as we're going to use the Flourishing Hills, pitching the Telefon to send the Archer, bringing back the Telefon, use the Dimension Dice from here, get our Telefon to the graveyard to get another Telefon, and from here we can use the Seedlings and Haze, pitching the Keldo, add the Kelbeck as it's a hand trap, bring back the Archer, and now you're just going to start spamming Telefon going into your Link 1s. You have the Keldo in the graveyard or Mudora, depending on what you pitch, and we're just going to spam the Archer as well, as we're going to tribute away the Link Kuriboh and the Telefon for the first tribute, bring back Telefon via Telefon, then link away into our second Link Kuriboh, use the Telefon again, and we'll use the Archer here, tributing off the used Telefon and the Link Kuriboh. From here, we can use Telefon, bringing back Telefon again, then link away into the Anima, use Telefon to bring back Telefon from the graveyard, then we'll use the Archer to tribute the used Telefon and the Anima, and we'll put them at 4400. Keldo can now put back all your Link 1s, and now you're really just going to rinse and repeat, as we're going to use the Telefon here, bring back the Telefon, go into the Link Kuriboh, use the Telefon effect, bring Telefon back from the graveyard, use the Archer again, then use the Telefon to bring back the Telefon in the graveyard for the millionth time again, as we're going to go into Link Kuriboh, use the Telefon again, and now we can use the Archer to tribute them off. And now we only need to do this a couple of more times, as you're going to see we're going to use the Telefon to bring back the Telefon and go into Anima, as now we're going to bring back Telefon for one final time. Now we can tribute off the Anima and the Telefon here for the 1200, and as our opponent is at 800 left, we can now tribute the Archer and the Telefon for the FTK. And onto the deck profile, you'll see there's actually not much changes. I took out the Adharas, the Small World, and a Foolish Burial for the new dice cards, because they just get you into your Telefon more consistently, and it doesn't require the loss of resources to do so. We also have the G-Golem cards to strengthen our end board, and the ability to have an extender via Stubborn, but that's pretty much all that's changed. So to start with the card by card, we'll see the 3 Keldos, the 2 Mudoros, the 2 Agidos, the 3 Kelbecks, the 3 Seedlings and Haze, the 3 Flourishing Hills, the 1 Archer, the 3 Awakening Forest, the 3 Asa, the 3 Telefons, the 1 Gadget Gamer, the 3 Dice Dungeon, the 3 Machine Dupes, 3 Where Art Thou, the 1 Called by the Grave, and the 3 Dimension Dice to round out the main deck. Then onto the extra deck, we have 1 Skull Dread, as it's an Earth monster, Link 4 that can still use its effect, get you into Archer that way if you need to. Appaloosa, Trigate, which is really helpful that it's Earth as well, the Phoenix and the Cerberus, the Dignified, the Invalid, and the Stubborn, Anima, the 2 Link Kuribohs, Abyss Dweller, number 3, Naturia Beast, and Herald to round out the extra deck. And as said in previous videos, these are just options that you can use in formats where cross-out is good, and maybe the Ishizu cards are hit. The cross-out build could be better to protect yourself from Nibiru, but while the Ishizu cards are at full throttle, I feel like this is the way that I would run it. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.